social hype is the flavor of the week. The things that I've been working on, at least anyway. Just trying to basically just think about communities having spaces and inviting people over. It's like, what things do they need? And so they've been on the list for a while, and it's just like, yeah, we need to get those done. Yeah, lots of little changes, but good little changes, and just about immersion and social and control and stuff like that. So yeah. I might share my screen and basically just go over a couple of things that happened. Share my entire screen.
Yep, there you go. Now I see it.
It was like every time I switched, alt tabbed, it disconnected for some reason. You can see the play world? Yep.
Cool. And Discord play world now.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, so lots of little changes. The first thing is that we switched the locomotion to controls to be like more third person, but facing the direction that you are. Unless you're standing still, it'll stay facing forward. And then we got this little movement and directional movement, which we didn't really have before. We just kind of slapped things together. This walking movement, I'm not totally happy with this, but I think it's good enough for now. But the run feels good, and I think Bogey pointed out this diagonal backwards just didn't look right. So we'll get to that at some point. But for the most part, it feels really nice. The first time I tried this, we were just slapping Mixamo animations together to try and get it to work, and then I just went down this rabbit hole of looking at AAA quality mocap animations, which then led to me having to figure out how to get mocap capture into as an emote in Hyperfy. So I learned heaps about retargeting and stuff, and I think maybe at the end of this call I'll just show the workflow for that in Blender for those that want to create their own custom emotes and stuff. I mean, we're using this for locomotion, but you could use the same technique to do a wave emote or dancing and conversational stuff. So that was good. And so as soon as we moved the locomotion to being third person and facing the direction you're going, that made it way easier to create this first person view. It's in if you're in third person and you turn, your whole body turns now, so you're always facing that way. And I'm going to add a little shuffle thing, so it's not just swiveling like that. I'll probably just add some kind of emote that plays an animation that shuffles the feet a little bit so it looks more natural. And then, yeah, as soon as I did this, I realized it would be really cool if we had this head tracking stuff. This kind of came out of nowhere when I was working on additive blending for things if you're holding a weapon and running around, and making them work with the movement, with the locomotion emotes. And I realized we had this ability to now aim a bone in a certain direction. And so to begin with, it was just aiming the head where you're looking, but now it aims the neck first and then it aims the head. And so you get this, it's almost natural, there's still something slightly uncanny about it. But it's still, it seems pretty realistic. I can keep improving that over time. And I posted a video of doing I had full, I don't know if you can see that if I go, can you see that if I go full screen?
Yep, all good.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yes, I had the whole from the chest up, so it would move the chest in the direction you're looking at, and this, I don't know, to me this feels really freaking nice, but I think that it might be just over the top, and that's what I said in the tweet. I'm I think this would be good, but I also think I don't know, it might just be overkill, but it feels really immersive. If you're talking to someone and you can see the direction that they're looking, that expression just feels kind of nice. Anyway, yeah. So that kind of then led to this kind of like head tracking stuff, and then I think the next thing on the list that I worked on was this emotes wheel that pops up. So in mobile, you get, if I refresh, in mobile, you now get an emotes wheel that pops up, and it's there on desktop as well. But on desktop, you actually get a shortcut as well. It's like wave, dance, chair. You can even edit those emotes. So you can change the labels, uploading new emote, GLB, the icons. I think you can swap if you put an icon in there, it'll show the icon on it instead of the word. And it's like, what emotes? Like you could use like silhouettes or something like that on the wheel. Nice. Something that I was going to jump on was like, I was going to create this thing where you could upload, choose a VRM avatar, choose an emote, just a little web app like that lives in its own, like a website you can go to. And then it would create these silhouettes for you, and you could like scrub through the animation until you get to the point that you want, and then it would take a screenshot and give you like a silhouette. But I'll do that at some point. If somebody else wants to work on that, we can probably help fund it as well.
Can everyone hear Ash? Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry, Ash. No, Howie was saying in the side chat he can't hear you, but it's a Howie problem, not a you problem. Everybody else can hear Ash? Okay, good. You weren't talking into the void. I was like, oh no, he just explained all the good stuff.
Yeah, so if somebody wants to work on that, like please do. I'll help fund something like that, because I think that's way more like nicer to be able to see this and see little silhouettes of the emote that you want to use rather than the words. Although the words is kind of like more descriptive, it's probably a bit more UX friendly. But yeah, so you can right now it's you hit G to bring it up, which matches a couple of other popular games. Some of them use T, and some of them like Decentraland use B. So I'm probably going to make that rebindable. But this is just an app. You just drop it in the world. I'm going to add it to the apps list because I think it's like a core app to have an emote wheel. And it would just come with these default emotes. I want to swap those emotes as well because I don't think these are super high quality. These are just from a Mixamo or something. And then, yeah, so as soon as we had that, I realized that we could actually have the head tracking working with these freaking emotes. Like, and I tried it and I'm like, yep, sweet. We can just like ship this. And so emotes can optionally have head tracking, which is just like, it's just nice. Like if I'm standing like this and I'm waving at this Curie guy, if we didn't have head tracking, it would just be like that. But now I can actually like look at him while I'm waving in the wrong direction kind of thing. I don't know. It's kind of cool. Or like if you're just talking to somebody and you look over in the distance, the other person can tell that you're not looking at them anymore, which is just like, I don't know. It's little things like that, which I think are going to make things like more immersive and interesting and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Sure. So just sticking to the theme of like social stuff, thinking about what we need to work on next, to get like all of the social, like I'm thinking mostly from a community perspective, where if we created a world or somebody else wanted to create a world for their own projects or stuff like that, and they want to invite people over, and right now you can have like voice chat, but that voice chat is locked to being spatial, and you can't mute anybody, you can't do anything of that. So all those features are things that I'm working on now. Yesterday I shipped voice chat option, so by default it was spatial, but you can now talk on that. But now you can change, like at the world level, if you're an admin, you can completely disable voice chat if you want to. You can turn it back onto spatial so everyone can chat on spatial, or you can do full global chat. So there's no like proximity based stuff going on. And then, so that's kind of like just a small step ahead to that. And then the next thing was like adding this voice zone, basically the ability to control the voice setting with an app. And so in this one, for example, you use it, like make it visible when you're positioning it and whatever, but then you can change what happens to your voice chat when you walk inside of it. So you could have it set to spatial or set to global, or disable voice chat. So you could have a mute zone. Sorry, what was that?
Do you have any fine tuning of the spatial? Can you control that at all? Because I know sometimes before, the spatial, like you can kind of hear from, let's say, far away or through walls or different things like that. So maybe you could use one of these zones or something to say, like, keep it within this room or something.
I like the idea of the walls thing that you talked about. So spatial really doesn't give a shit about what's in the scene, but like you could use the zones. Exactly. Maybe we have like a muffle value.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be sick actually.
Because we noticed that we had a world where there's different rooms and stuff, and like straight shot, if there was no wall there or something, we're only like a meter apart or like half a meter apart, but really you're like down the stairs around the corner in a different room, right?
Yeah.
So technically I shouldn't be hearing you, but I can like clear as day hear you as if you're standing next to me.
Yeah. I just like I forget what the terms are for the voice chat. The proximity stuff is like a fall off value. If it's not like in an open space, if that fall off doesn't sound right, we can just keep tweaking it until it's like at the point where it feels right. It might be too low at the moment, or it might be too high. I'm not sure. I think the values that I used were written from a research paper that was trying to mimic real world physics and like voice fall off, like sound. And I just kind of like took those numbers and went, yeah, hopefully that'll sound right. And I think it's okay, but like, yeah, we can keep tweaking it as well. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, so anyway, with these voice zones, you can basically like, you can have a mute zone. So if somebody walks in here, they can't, well, if they're literally out here and they're talking and then they go in here, it'll just like, you won't hear them anymore. And if you put it, like if you had your global set to spatial, and then you set this voice zone up to global, then you've got like this is the kind of thing that you would do on a stage. So like you could have like a standing area or whatever, like for everyone to chill out. But then like you're gonna go do a speech or something, you could stand up on a pedestal or whatever, and in that area you could be speaking in global chat. And so everyone in the world can hear you without having to be really close. It's just like that, yeah, that kind of dynamic stuff that we wanted to be able to do.
That's great. And that volume that you're using, is that just a mesh that you made in Blender? Is that are you somehow creating that within World right now?
Yeah, that's literally just a GLB with a rigid body, a mesh, and a trigger on it.
Okay.
It's a collider with trigger on it. But you could change it out. Like the code that does it is this. It's not, there's nothing there. It's basically, if you're on the server, when somebody walks inside it, set the voice level to the one that's set, and when you leave, turn it off. The nice thing about this is you can overlap them. So if you like don't have it perfect, and you maybe have this one set to spatial or like that, and this one set to global, I think they're unlinked. Yeah, I need to unlink them.
And that like translucence opacity is okay, or no? That you mentioned maybe in mobile and stuff that might be an issue. Is that fine? Like the mesh like that, where it's kind of like see through and.
Oh, it's the idea is like you would just leave it like this when you're trying to position them, but like when you're done, you would turn them off. Yeah,
Sweet.
most likely, but that's just so you can actually see where they are. We need like edit mode events so that we can show things when you're in build mode, and then when you go out of build mode, they go away, like we had in V1. But until now,
Definitely.
it's just like here's this visible thing. So if you had two voice zones and they overlap, it'll always pick the higher priority one. So to say it goes in the order of disabled, spatial, then global. And so if this one is spatial and this one is global, and I stand here, it'll put my voice chat at global.
That's cool.
And there might be echo when I do this, but basically, if you get disabled and you walk in there, you'll see it's red. I'm not sure about like the perfect UX for that, but if anyone has any suggestions, basically like if you have your microphone on and you go into a dead zone, it goes red. Yeah. And that's pretty much it for voice chat. I mean, yeah, we'll just keep iterating on that stuff. I think these are like essential pieces for like running events where you want people to be able to talk to each other in the crowd, but like when you talk, you want everyone to hear you. Stuff like that. And then we have scripts like apps can already see who's a builder and who's not. There's like a player.admin flag you can check. And so you could do things like have a stage, like a stage that you have to stand on and that has the global voice chat thing on it. And you could make it so that only admins could walk on that stage by having like a hidden wall, basically, that's only that's not there if you're an admin, so you can get up there, but no one else can. And so, like, maybe I could build like some example apps for that, but yeah, stuff like that. So the thing about apps is that we can just build like almost anything.
Yeah, the player admin's pretty handy too, and being able to call them from pipes like that. Also, the players list you're working on with being able to mute individual people, and that's super handy for events and social and games in general.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is something you said you worked on at doing this as an app. And I think I mentioned you. Yeah, you mentioned talking about like I remember you talking about that, and then I was like, this kind of like naturally flows through the social hype stuff that I'm working on, where basically we just add this menu option over here, list all the people in the order that they come in. So like, I think it's ordered like that. So it's like if you a new person that joined, the first person that's in will be at the top. New people that join will keep just getting added down below. And then you can see the idea. This is work in progress, by the way. This is like I'm still working on this right now. But when they're talking, that will show up. That little icon. This little button will let you mute people. So this is only visible. All these buttons here are only visible if you're an admin. This button will let you mute people. This little button will let you kick people out of the world. It's only a temporary, like a temp ban where they can just refresh and come back in. But it's good if like somebody left their mic on and went and talked to their like, you know, they're not even at the computer, but their mic's picking up the whole conversation. And you just want to boot them so that it's not like intrusive or you hear something you're not meant to. So you just kick them out. And there's going to be another button here for adding for making somebody a builder. So right now you have admin codes to become the admin of your world and have build mode unless you have public build on or off, like this free build thing. So you don't want to be sharing if you want like a private admin, like no free build, and you want to give people build thing, you don't currently have any way of doing that other than giving them an admin code, which isn't great because then they have full control over everything, and you can't revoke it. So this will give you the ability to make somebody a builder just from here. You just literally, you can actually like right click on people now to bring up that list and then toggle off.
That's great. It's better than just the one on builder on, builder off.
Yeah, and you mentioned in your thing you were doing this teleport summoning, and summoning all sounds pretty freaking cool as well. I think like I can have a look at
it's
trying to do
handy.
that. Put a button up here,
That would be
maybe.
awesome to have in there. Yeah, it's handy within. It's been handy a few times within events and just to troll and mess with people. But yeah, it's handy to get to people. And yeah, I did it in a hype. One thing you say that like the players list is available for admin, obviously for muting and all the things that like you only want admin to be able to do. But will non-admin people be able to see like a list of players in world or something if they're trying to see if people are there with them?
I haven't like thought of exactly how I want to do that. Whether this button that makes them a builder or an admin or whatever gives them like full privileges or what. But I don't want to go too crazy with fine grained controls, because I think any decisions that I make there somebody will be like, oh, that doesn't work for us. It's like for now, I think it's just everything. I'm not sure. Yeah, I need to think about that more, unless anyone has any suggestions. But basically, like, yeah, I was just gonna make it so that you click this button and they get all this. We can change everything. But there's definitely use cases for like, well, actually, I just want to like give someone mod status, so they can't change anything in the world. Like, you don't want them coming in here and like screwing around with the description and stuff. You don't want them coming in here and deleting apps. You don't want them adding new apps, but you definitely want them to be coming in here and being able to like mute and kick people.
Right.
So the problem is that I think there's people who they're like, oh yeah, no, I want them to be able to edit the apps, but I don't want them to be able to change the like world title and picture and avatars and stuff like that. It's like, maybe, yeah, it's tough.
Like you need like a roles manager with check boxes or something. Be like, all right, this role you get this, this, and this for the fine
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Just do permissions. Be like, you can create as many roles as you want, and here's a bunch of check boxes and things that you can do.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have a think about that, because like, yeah, that'd probably be the most flexible, is create your own roles. But maybe worlds come with their own like preset roles that you can change, so you don't have to screw around with that. So you have like an admin, a builder, and a mod. Admin can do everything. Builder can add and remove apps, and mods can kick and mute people, unmute people. That's probably everything, to be honest.
Yeah, for the most part, I think that's everything.
That is it.
I feel like if you're going fine grained beyond that, it's probably for a special use case in a game situation.
Yeah, and then at that point, you could just think about maybe making a small fork of the engine for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the other things that I've got on my list, these are all tentative and I want to look at them, but they've come up in the last couple of days, and they all kind of fit the social hype theme. So people list that I'm working on now. Hopefully that's that'll probably come out today. Spring Bones, bringing those back. Blinking, which is similar to Spring Bones, is kind of like just re-enabling the VRM stuff for that. And then looking at teleport summon and summon all. The teleport and the problem that I'm not sure if you've solved these might be solved problems, Omka, but teleporting to someone, I'm assuming would just teleport to their exact position and you just pop out of them because of the collision.
So you either like teleport directly on top of them, or you just add like an offset on the X and Y.
Yeah, my problem with the offset is like, what if it's in a wall, or what if I fall through the terrain or something? I don't know. I'm just
It's not ideal. Like same with the porticle with the particles that are like two portals that portal to each other. I had to do an offset on that, obviously. Otherwise, you just get an infinite loop.
Oh yeah,
going back and forth.
That's true.
But the thing with that is if you make the offset like X or Y and then somebody puts it in their world, puts two portals like at whatever position, like you said, like you might fall off a cliff if it offsets you like one to the side, or you might, like you said, be stuck in a wall all of a sudden or something. So
Yeah. I'm curious if maybe there's like our physics engine has some kind of like, here's a position that I want to move this object to, but can you find like a safe place in that area for them to land so that they don't land in something or fall through something? But you could still end up being like, if I teleported to this NPC, but there was a wall right next to them, I could still accidentally teleport to the wall right, like on the other side of the wall. So, but yeah, there might be something there. I'll have a look around.
And the terrains is something that you we haven't talked about on a call yet too. That's added added recently, so maybe mention something on that.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. So we have this concept of scene apps now, and like I don't think they're even very obvious. Oh yeah, here it is. It's the one app that you have when you first load the world up. It doesn't have any of these extra buttons here. It's just one. There's a single app, right? And the idea is like they're called scene apps, and you can't move them. Like if you're in build mode, they're stuck there. They're stuck in like at 000. They work just like a regular app, except you can't move them. They're always preloaded before the person enters the world, but you can change everything about them. And I've kind of like used the same sort of thing as we had with the solar panel app, and now we just kind of like lock it all into here. So you can change the direction of the sun, elevation, and then change the intensity, stuff like that. But then we've got this new fog stuff that I added. You see off in the distance there, like the fog fades out the hills. And then I basically just ripped together a couple new terrains that looked a little bit more interesting, where there's texture issues here, but a wide open flat area, but then it kind of like goes into rolling hills so that you get that fog effect. If you didn't have that, it wouldn't look as quite like as interesting. And then I hunted down some new skyboxes for this as well. Played around with the color settings, kind of like got a little bit more natural looking. And then I created this one and this other one here, which is essentially the same thing, but more of like an alien planet with a greener sky and a blue grass. And they work the same. And you could drop these in the world, and I think like I have a lot of things open right now. If we look at a grid one, so you get this thing that's like, do you want to replace your current scene with this one? It's because it actually will swap out the entire app that's in there with the new scene.
How big are those scenes compared? So is the world still what, 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers? How big is the scene technically?
So you can make the scenes any size you want, like if you make your own custom scenes. But for now, the ones the 3 that I made, which were the grass one, the blue grass one, and the grid, they're all 1 kilometer radius. So 2 kilometers across.
2 kilometers across. Okay.
Yeah.
Just asking for a friend, maybe working on a map then.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, there's something about it. The reason that we left it as like one scene app that gets overwritten and then you get this prompt is kind of like a sneaky way of doing the way that loading works. If we deleted that app and added a new one, people would fall, like for you would be fine because this app would disappear and the new app would load instantly and you'd be like on the new terrain. But if for a remote player, there'll be a second where there would be nothing. And so they would just fall forever. So that's why we did this swap.
And the way that you tested it out, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Have you tested it out with raycasting? Is like raycasting aware of that it is a ground and that it is like the base?
It doesn't know that it's the base, but raycasting still works because it's just a regular app.
Does it have any reference of like how, like where, like the, I don't know, the top of it, or is it trying to gauge from Like a thickness in it or a center point or something? Okay.
Nah, there's basically nothing there. It's just the physics mesh like a regular old app. And that was the other thing is like the scene with the scene apps, we removed the mandatory floor. So like there was this concept of like an invisible ground, like a giant flat plane, that even if you had no meshes there or nothing, you wouldn't fall through it. With the new scenes, you can fall forever if you don't put a collider in there. So scenes need to have collision, but that means that you can have a scene where like right now I'm on a grid, but if I could swap in a new scene that's me at the top of a giant pillar, and I walk off the edge and can fall, or you could be at the top of a mountain and you could still climb down the mountain. So that way we don't have I don't know, it's way more flexible and open to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And in a world, is there any, if you didn't have a scene in, how far is the bottom?
It just goes. It just goes forever.
So you could stack 10 scenes and teleport between them if you go to the negative Y or something.
You could.
For levels or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you absolutely could.
okay.
I think there's so in because we're web based and this is JavaScript. If you basically on the web you have this concept of floating point precision, and I think that you can go to I can't remember it's 40 kilometers or 30 kilometers that you start seeing some pretty weird stuff happening with the numbers because they just start getting less accurate. In V1, we had the same problem. But basically, if you move more than 40 kilometers, I feel like it's more than 40 kilometers, but I'm going to go with that. Then you just start seeing little, all of the vertices of meshes just start jittering a little bit. It looks pretty funny. It's, but yeah, so that's plenty for having, I've got this world here is 2 kilometers across, including the sky. We're only 1 kilometer up to the sky here. You could probably get away with having you could have 10 of these, but obviously you're going to run into performance. You have to be really performance conscious because you're loading so many different things.
Right.
Whereas maybe it's better to just have separate worlds, but then you've got to worry about data transport and stuff like that as well. So, but it's totally doable. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I'm working on. Basically, just focusing on social features that have been needed and neglected, to kind of make it easier to have events and parties and stuff like that. Just more control over that, more immersion, and I feel like we're way ahead of V1 at this point now. You just didn't have these kind of controls. This feeling and all of that. We bring back spring bones as well. So yeah.
Spring bones will be amazing. And there was some talk about GLB animations and having that, and you made a new base hype that can trigger the anims.
That's right. Yeah.
Is there an easy way to maybe show how that works for people?
What did I do an animation for that? I think I made something for it. I won't be able to find it.
It's in all hypes, I think. I forwarded it there.
There you go. It's got these dumb things on it, but it's there. Yeah, so I think you added the visibility toggle. Oh, that's interesting. Collision we don't need, but then animation you can just flick through the different animations that play.
square head.
That's funny. I don't know. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was a like an attachment point or something. I don't know why I added that. It's just a random thing attached to it. But yeah, you can do that kind of stuff in the scripts as well. So you can read the animations and then put them in the fields like this. Somebody should make animal NPCs. So we got these guys running around, and they just pick random directions and things that they want to do. We could do the same thing with these.
We got Susan. We got some. Yeah, but the quadruped's a little bit funky right now with the VRM.
Yeah, you can't do it with the VRM. You got to use an animated GLB, and then. But like you could do mounts. I don't know, like. Oh God. Yeah, I can't click that, can I? Yeah.
That animated GLB you had there, it's just that you dragged it in as that base height that you made, and it just automatically can detect which animations that you had preset in that GLB.
Yeah, and any GLB just throw in there. Right now, it only works with skin mesh animations rather than object animations. I want to bring in like just positional and like transform animations as opposed to skin meshes, but there's something weird about it in that like they're individual objects that are moving, but your script can also control those things. So they might not work as people expect, which so I've just left it out for now, but I'll add it at some point. Most people use skin mesh anyway, and it's actually more performant to use skin mesh animations, even if you had like, I don't know, Blender open, but if you had multiple objects and each one of them moved independently, if you just merge them all into one skeleton and had a bone for each one weighted to each object and moved those, then that would work in Hyperfy right now. And it would be more performant because you'd, instead of having four separate draw calls for each object, you'd just have one, and it would just be animating the bones. So it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of a good thing to just have skin mesh animations right now because it kind of forces you to be a bit more performant. We did the same thing with the cars, which if Bogey's here, he can come and like steal this. I'm going to throw a car down for now.
No way. Everybody jump in there. Hurry up. Bogey's not here. Everybody else better get in the world right now.
I told him that.
There's a car in the world.
But basically, like, this is a skin mesh, right? So, like, I'm not in the driver's seat, I don't think. Is this the driver's seat? Yeah. I'm in edit mode. Fuck me. The wheels moving here, this whole thing is just one mesh, right? It's a skin mesh with the bones set for the wheels. And so, like, yeah, it's more performant than having like what we had in V1, where we had one mesh for the body of the car, and then we had one mesh for each wheel, and so you had 5 draw calls, and so like you had 10 cars and you got 50, like 50 freaking meshes going on, and so we had to swap that out to skin meshes because now you can probably like have 50 cars instead of 10 or whatever. Without running into any like major performance issues. I love that people are literally like unmovable. Just smack into them. Yeah.
It just boom.
There's been lots of I don't know if fully everything's networked yet, but it should be there. I forgot what I was gonna say. Fuck. I don't even know what I was saying. But yeah. That's cars. I don't know if anyone stole that.
Using skin mesh. Trying to motherfucker, you delete. Sorry.
I was gonna share. So we're working on. We've got like a full collection, but we want the right distribution for these. So, but Bogey keeps like bugging me, like, dude, you built like, cars and shit. Why can't we like have that? And I'm like, yeah, well, it's going to be open source anyway. So, don't use the model that's ours, and there's other models and stuff like skins for those cars. But that's basically a good reference for how to do vehicles if anyone got that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm pretty hyped about all the social stuff. I think like it's gonna unlock a lot more. And I don't know what's everyone else working on. What's happening? I know Hyro. I don't know if I can find it, but Hyro did a freaking cool thing that blew my mind. Where is it? Oh man.
Let's forward to a side chat here. One of these two links. One of these is you're looking, and the other one is his. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if the audio will come through for this. But Hyro basically made like a companion agent that follows you around, but it's literally voice chat. Is the sound coming through that?
Fortunately,
I don't know.
Can you hear me?
I don't know if the audio is coming through for that.
Nah, the audio's not.
No. All right. So basically, like this thing's following you around, and Hyro's talking to it, and it's talking back when it animates. I think that's freaking insane. Like no one wants to type text to an AI when you can just run around and talk. Like I can see that expanding into the AI being able to do things inside of the world, and I'm not sure if that's like totally what he's trying to do here, but
he does. Yeah, he brings it. Yeah, and not only is he talking to it, but he tells it to drop a building.
Oh, he did.
Over
That's
here.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reads from his database, and it says, "Okay, what architecture do I have? You have an office, you have a residential house, and you have another house. Okay, drop an office right here. No problem. I'll drop an office right here. Thanks, Anton." And, I'll be the audio. Anton,
it's so epic.
What architecture do I have in my thing?
So like,
here it is. Don't smudge the glass.
So we like about a week ago, I realized that we have everything that we need to do text to avatar, and I can imagine talking to this freaking little agent like bubble thing, who's currently just a bunch of dots on a screen that like pulse and stuff like that. You can imagine if you were like, hey, can you turn into like a futuristic wizard or some shit? And he just like transforms into whatever you tell him to. Because we could basically just take text and go, I want to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And that text then goes through a couple of AI models and spits out a fully working avatar at the end. And we have everything for it. It's just like the only problem that we're currently running into is we can't one-shot it like 100% of the time. And if there's any kind of like issue along that pipeline, then it's like, damn, like it just fails because we don't know what to do. Basically, it runs through a couple models. So you've got text, from text to image, or if you're doing voice, you would do voice to text and then text to image. That would give you an image of an avatar front facing in T-pose. That can go wrong if you don't have like a properly trained model for it. But I think we can solve that using like a LoRa flux, like a flux LoRa for it to do T-poses. I'm pretty sure that's how that shit works. But I'm going to speak to MetaMic more about that. Then from that GLB, we need to rig it with a skeleton, which there's a model out there called UniRig, but there's also a couple others that I want to look into. And if we can get that going, in like the few tests that I did, I think I did like 4 or 5 of them. 3 of them got fully rigged with the proper bones and the proper places, but a couple of them didn't. And so there's a couple of like cases where it might not work. So that's another point of failure. And then after that, we throw it into a headless blender where it imports the GLB that's skinned, and then it renames all the bones and re-exports it as a VRM, and then boom, you can load it. So like if you do all of that through a script, we could have a service that does all of this stuff where anyone could use it in their worlds. It's basically just like an API where you give it text and it comes back with a URL to a VRM or avatar and replaces your character on it. But like, man, yeah, AI is changing like so rapidly. I think like maybe 2 months ago, if I had heard what I was talking about just now, I'd be like, nah, it won't happen. Because like that's at least another year or two away. But it's not. It's like so freaking close.
Speaking of that too, Shaw's been cranking on Eliza and Hyperscape and talking about procedural land, and looks like
he was
posted something on the side here about doing. Looks like he's got a web GPU thing going.
Oh wait, what?
I think Howie's been doing a quote unquote small fork, making some web GPUs.
Howie is working on. Is this Hyperfy? It doesn't look like Hyperfy.
I don't know what he's looking at. I think he changed a little bit of what the stats look like on the side, but yeah, he's been working on a web GPU fork.
I want to know if that profile picture of Howie is actually Howie.
Nah, it's not.
It's not. It's like you back in the college days, right? Yeah. With your two mistresses. Man, yeah, so GPU, web GPU, crazy. Like we now have that in Safari, which means it's in 100% of devices that we need. But the problem is that the adoption of iOS updates that would bring web GPU is still I think I looked at this and I spoke to AI about it for like an hour. I'm like, but when can I actually go to web GPU? Because I think the migration is like totally doable. There's not a, we actually don't use 3JS a lot inside the engine. It's just for the rendering stuff. It's like just meshes, right? That's all there is. Everything else is just not 3JS. You mean basically done? Yeah. Well, I might like be consulting with you then soon. But AI basically was saying like 6 months based on the previous iOS versions before we have like enough people that are on the latest version that have web GPU. Because the worst thing that we could do right now is drop web GPU, but then like 80% of people that are on their iPhones that go and visit a world won't be able to view it. It'll just fail unless we do a fallback. But I would prefer not to have a fallback unless it's super easy. I think there's like you end up with like fragmented code trying to do both. All the shaders and stuff are different.
I think Howie had a little bit of a toggle going on.
No way, man.
Yeah, it works. It's pretty cool.
What's the performance like?
Quite impressive, honestly. Yeah, here's Howie. Talk, Howie.
Here I am. Hello.
Hey, man.
Yeah, the performance is crazy. On an empty world, I'm looking at 1500 FPS.
What is it like on a non-web GPU?
Well, it seems capped in WebGL at 7.
Yeah.
But regardless, I can feel the difference. Like it's a feelable difference, and you can. Yeah, it's crazy.
You see, I haven't really tried it because I don't want to I'll get FOMO, right? Like I'll try it and then I'll be like, okay.
Yeah,
because it'll make what we currently have feel inferior.
It doesn't actually. Like that's why I put the switch between them because of exactly what you said. I didn't want it to be breaking on mobile or on VR or something, you know.
Yeah.
So you can just switch between them. It just requires a page reload, and then that's it.
Damn. Yeah, damn. The things that we can do. So web GPU, like the absolute craziest thing that I'm looking forward to is compute shaders. But there's like the things we can't do. There's so many things we can't do because of compute shaders.
I'm currently about, I want to say, if I had to guess, I'm like 95% like matched up with everything that's in WebGL. If you switch to Web GPU, it just switches renderers and everything's the same. Like objects stay in the same spot. It all,
God,
handles exactly the same. And I even
is that last 5% going to take you twice as long as it's taking?
No, it's just me going back and forth, fighting with a couple of feet. It's the GLBs to nodes that's a little bit crazy at the moment.
Okay.
Because it's the way, obviously, the way you handle it, it's going to be different on both sides. So the way I'm matching what you did with WebGL, basically the way it's rendering in and parenting. So like right now, when I go to grab something in Web GPU, if it's multi-meshes, it breaks the mesh and only grabs one part of it, Oh, actually, new update just fixed that. Never mind. I just, that might be fixed.
Yeah, man. Web GPU is going to change it. We exist.
Breaking the meshes for me.
Yeah. Like our platform exists and there are a couple others that are out there as well. But I think when Web GPU comes along, all the big boys from like Unity and Unreal are going to be like moving to web. And it's just going to be game over for these native like platforms. Like it's going to be kind of crazy. It's a game changer for real. I think tooling is the thing that's going to hold everybody back. So like whenever a Unity, whenever game studios look at doing anything on the web, they're like, oh, so you don't have like anything that has physics like baked in. We're the only platform that uses PhysX like as its main like core physics engine, and like everyone else is using things like Canon, which is just like completely inferior, slower. It's not like a game studio that looks at Canon will be like, I'm going back to Unity or Unreal. But we've got PhysX, and once we have Web GPU, it's just like, yeah, okay, game over. But it's the tooling that people want. People want like the Unity experience where they just like add components to things. They just don't have any of that. They don't have any of it. They got to build it all from scratch because nobody's kind of like taken the time to build that stuff yet. And yeah, we have 3JS and the rendering, which is now solved with Web GPU and all that. But we just need everything else. But Hyperfy will kind of hopefully just be like a thing that a lot of people will use as like at least a starter to like try things out and stuff. But then like game studios are obviously going to go nuts and build their own stuff from scratch. So yeah.
Yeah, but that was a pretty jam-packed call there with a bunch of exciting updates.
Yeah, and we end with the cherry on top, Web GPU.
Dead at the end.
Dead at the end, working.